Good afternoon. I am coming at you today from my new shop. We just moved to the upstate here in South Carolina. We're super excited about it, and even though there's going to be lots of changes coming to the shop, we're just going to go ahead and go with this for now. What I'm here about today is we've got a little bit of a crisis on our hands, or maybe it's just a self-inducted crisis, something like that, that this here Maxi Trac compressor has just been the best thing on the market since whenever, or maybe it was only the best thing on the market for like 3 months because they were super popular, they're super fantastic, they're awesome, and then they were out of stock. And nobody can get them, and nobody knows when they're coming back or what's going on. I've actually heard from a number of different people, I've read it online, and I've talked to a couple associates at Napa who said, yeah, that thing's no more, it's discontinued, it's not coming back. That said, it still shows up in my Facebook feed all the time. Hey, go to Napa, buy this. And you can go on their website and you can theoretically buy one. It says out of stock, it says not available at your local store, and it says not available for ordering. But it's still there. I don't know. Maybe it's coming back. Maybe there's a whole bunch of them on a container ship sitting out in the Pacific somewhere. I don't know. However, in this meantime, if you're like, wow, I really wish I could get that Maxi Trac compressor because it's so cool, but we can't, what are you gonna do? What are your other options? So a few months ago, I made a comparison video with the 3 different compressors that I had on set at the time. One being the Maxi Trac, which I just purchased and I was super excited about it. We also had Jay's 5.65 CFM Iron Man 4x4 compressor, which as it turns out is, in my opinion, pretty much identical to this compressor that we're looking at here today, which I'll get to in just a second. And then I had the Harbor Freight Special, which was like 70 bucks or something like that, and only did like 1 point whatever CFM. And though it's a great compressor for cars and things like that, or if you're blowing up basketballs, it was just overmatched when you come to big off-road tires, and I'm only running 33s. They're not even that big. What I'm coming at you with today is a fantastic option. They are in stock right now. You can go ahead and order them. They come in different colors. In fact, I think they've got 3 different colors. And that is the Gobege 5.65 CFM compressor. I'll leave a link in the description down below to their Amazon page where you can order them. They come in this red color. It comes in an orange color. And I've also seen them on there in black where the whole case is black. Now, if you look at this unit, you'll see, hey, wow, it looks exactly like a half a dozen other ones that I've seen. This looks exactly like, except these slits are a little bit different. Some of them have different shape. They look identical to the Iron Man and to the Smitty built and so many others that you've seen. They all put out 160 liters per minute or 5.65 CFM of air. They're all good for 150 PSI. They all pull 45 amps as indicated here. They all have these super aggressive battery clamps where the little rubber things just completely fall off, just like my Maxi Trac over there. You'll see some of them actually have slightly different, like this reset is different or the switch might be different. This one has an exposed switch on it. Some of them have a little rubber cover over it. Some have an actual rubber lead that comes off, as opposed to this one just having the nipple coming off the side. You know, you can see the Maxi Trac actually has a hose on it here that comes out. But listen, I think they're all fairly well the same. So specifically, get into some of the details of this Gobege compressor here. Again, 5.65 CFM, 45 amp draw. So it's probably just enough of an amperage draw that you are going to want to have your vehicle running while you're using it to air up all your tires, especially if you're airing up all 4 and you've got, you know, big mud tires or whatever going on. As I stated, it's got real nice strong alligator clips to hold onto your battery. It's got little rubber feet so you can, I mean, if you wanted to put it on your hood, I don't really like putting things on my hood, but we're good here for the video. And it's got a large plate underneath so that you can put it on kind of rough ground or sand or whatever and it stays nice and stable. So this is the cylinder over here that does all the compressing air, and then the exhaust port comes out here, and this is where you plug the hose in onto here like so. Because all of these components get extremely hot while you're using these, they actually have like this little machine gun looking heat shield as a handle. So hopefully this won't get too hot to touch and you can pick it up, move it around, do whatever you need to do. The hose itself is 24 feet long, which is exactly the same as all the other compressors. It has this same style with these little rubber pieces that, if I'm honest, not real happy with these little rubber pieces. They just come, they fall off, they don't get on there real good. And this is when it's cold. When this stuff gets hot, the stuff like damn near turns to liquid. It's got this little attachment on the other end that you can use to screw onto your tire valve. And this one actually works better than the hose, which an identical looking hose came with my Maxi Trac. But this fitting tends to work better. Maybe the other one was put together wrong or something. Couldn't tell you. It comes with a 250 PSI gauge. And again, if I'm honest, that is a little bit of a disappointment because, you know, when you're in here and you're trying to see, oh, has it got 36 or 37 PSI? There's no way to know. You're not gonna know. If it's got 50 or 100, you're on top of it. So make sure you carry a tire pressure gauge with you anyway. To the manufacturer, if you're watching this, if you could put just 150 PSI gauge on there, that would probably be a lot easier to read when you're actually talking about tire pressures as opposed to a 250 PSI gauge, and everything that you're doing is right down in here. One huge bonus to this setup is it comes with this little extension that has this little clip that you put onto your tire valve, and then this screws into this here. Now, my Maxi Trac did not come with one of these, and my Harbor Freight compressor also didn't come with one of these. And so I've already purchased a slightly different style, but it does the same thing. And it was, you know, it was only 12 bucks or something on Amazon, but hey, you don't have to spend that 12 bucks. This already comes with it. That's fantastic. It also comes with this handy carrying bag, which while not the most robust bag you've ever seen in your whole life, it's still pretty nice that there's room in here for the compressor, for the hose, for everything that's in there. It also comes with a couple of attachments inside for, you know, blowing up your air mattresses or whatever, and it's got like the little needle guy for just soccer balls or whatever. I know that's not what, you're not buying this to blow up soccer balls, but it's got those in there in case you keep this in your vehicle at all times and you go to your kid's soccer game or whatever, you've got that there. Again, the same hose, the same fittings, the same everything as all of these other compressors that I've dealt with personally. And so pretty sure they're all coming from the same place. That's a good thing because now they've got everything figured out. They've got all the manufacturing down. And if they were having massive amounts of failure of one part or another, they'd have fixed it by now. So I think you can believe in this product. I think it'll work real good for you. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and break out my 4-tire inflation system. I'm gonna get everything set up on the truck, and then I'm gonna use each one of these compressors. I'm gonna use the Gobege, and then I will use the Maxi Trac, kind of give you an idea of the difference in airtime between the two. What I'm not doing here is I'm not trying to make a direct comparison or a buying guide about, hey, should you buy this one or that one? Because you can't buy the Maxi Trac. What I am saying is, one of the things that I found having this Maxi Trac, and I've had it for a few months now, is when I go out on the trail, sure, I've got the baddest compressor on the planet. I've got the fastest thing. But if you're with 10 other guys and they don't have that same compressor, it's still gonna take them longer to air up than it's gonna take you. So it doesn't really save you any time if, you know, I'm gonna get aired up first and then I'm gonna stand around. You're all just kind of standing around chatting about things anyway and telling stories about, oh, I was on the trail, did you see the rock, did you see the thing, right? And that's just what you do when you're out on the trail. So if you are holding out and waiting for the Maxi Trac to come back into stock so that you could have the fastest one out there because that's what you need, I don't know that that's really what you need. Yeah, it's the best, but these work fantastic. This 5.65 CFM, they're not slow. It'll take a few minutes longer than the Maxi Trac will, but when you really get down to it in real life, when you're out on the trail and when you're with your friends, is it really that big of a problem? I don't think it is, because they're not going to be aired up any faster than you are. So let's go ahead and get that system out and we'll see what it does. So we are aired up again. We are now right at 35 PSI, and it took just a tick under, well, close enough, not matter. Let's call it 14 minutes. Let's keep in mind too that I was airing up from 5 PSI, and most of the time when I'm out on the trail, and you guys can kind of do whatever you do, however you like it, I air down to 12 PSI to 15 PSI, depending on the trail, how many rocks versus how much driving, whatever. And this time I aired all the way down to 5. So if you're airing up from your 12 or 15 PSI, it's gonna take less time. You know, you're probably gonna be into it for 10 minutes or whatever it is. But just for sake of making sure everything's exactly the same, now I'm going to hook up the Maxi Trac compressor. I'm gonna drop the tires back down to the same 5 PSI, and we're gonna try this again. We'll see how long it takes with the Maxi Trac. Okay, so I am now pretty much ready to go here with the Maxi Trac. We are now at 5 PSI. Okay, so, so I'm feeling a little awkward here. So I'm running the Maxi Trac compressor, and the Maxi Trac puts out enough air that it actually kind of overpowers the 4 valve stems. So when you were watching the Gobege compressor run through the exact same air system, the same tires and whatever, the pressure on the gauge was perfectly accurate to where it was. You shut the compressor off and the gauge would stay where it is. On the Maxi Trac, it always tends to run 5 or 10 PSI high because it moves more air than the 4 valve stems can. So you have to shut the compressor off and let the gauge come back down, kind of see where it's at, right? And then run things through. So when we were running the Maxi Trac right now, it was running a little high, and I was just going to shut it off. So I figured, at 5 minutes, we'll see where it's at. And I shut it off, and it was a 40. So the Maxi Trac compressor, which is theoretically just less than twice the CFM output of the Gobege, or of the Smitty built, or of the, you name it, the Iron Man, all the others that are out there. It's slightly less than double the CFM output, but it took 5 minutes to go from 5 to 40, as compared to the Gobege took 14 minutes to go from 5 to 35. Now, in full disclosure, Gobege sent me this compressor at no cost, just to do a review and kind of test it out and see how I like it, see how things go. And quite frankly, I was really hoping it would do just a little bit better. But I think it just goes to show what a powerhouse the Maxi Trac is. That said, you can't get this Maxi Trac anymore. It's dead and gone. You're not going to be able to get them. So what are you going to do for a compressor? And now the options really kind of at the top of the market seem to be the ARB twin cylinder compressor, which is a $600 compressor, plus you're going to need another $150 install kit and a tank, and it's a whole thing. I mean, it's going to cost you upwards of $1,000. Or at the time I'm recording this Gobege compressor is $159, and on Amazon right now they've got another 10% off coupon, so that takes it down to $145 or $144. You do the exact math on there, but that's a ton less than that ARB compressor. The ARB is rated at about 6.2 or 6.3 CFM versus the 5.65 on this Gobege. I don't think that, just for airing up tires, and as I said in my previous video, they're not exactly apples to apples. It's apples and oranges. The ARB can do different things. But this Gobege at 5.65 CFM at $159 and then another $15 off if that coupon is still going, I think that's a fantastic deal. I think that really works. Unfortunately, we don't get to have this twin-headed behemoth anymore. And when the representative from Gobege reached out to me and said, hey, we're talking about this, I actually asked, hey, I've heard that this Maxi Trac is not going to be available anymore, since it seems to me, I mean, you look at the two of them and they're virtually identical, except for this has two heads and that has one. I said, it looks like you're working with the same manufacturer. What are the chances that you can bring this out under your label? And the response that I got was something to the effect of, we kind of look at it and it doesn't seem viable financially. So my question to you guys watching this is, after watching this demonstration, how much would you be willing to pay for this two-headed compressor if we could bring it back on the market? I know Napa was selling them for $114, and then you get this kit. I mean, I think I picked this up for like 80 bucks or something like that. Now, you know Napa lost a ton of money on this. And so they've got this put up as some kind of loss leader so that you'll come in and buy other products. But realistically, I mean, would you be willing to spend $200, $229, $249? How much would you be willing to spend on this compressor versus that compressor so that you could have this type of performance? I know that it's got to be available somehow. I'm not trying to be disparaging at all towards the Gobege compressor. It actually worked very well. You saw me, I could touch it, I could pick it up, nothing got too hot. It aired up all four 33-inch tires with relative ease. It didn't overheat, it didn't shut down, it did the job perfectly. It's a lighter and slightly more compact design than the two-headed one, and so it's going to be easier to pack into your gear, it's going to be easier to carry around, and it uses half the wattage. It's a 45 watt instead of a 90 watt, so you could probably run this with the engine off and it's not going to kill your battery or whatever. And as far as I'm considered, where the price point comes in at $159 versus the Harbor Freight special that I ran in a different video was actually, I want to say $69, and it's completely, to me, worth another $100 to have a compressor that you can turn on. It's reliable, it doesn't shut down. That Harbor Freight, it took forever to air up tires, and it would shut down, it would thermal protection shut down, and I'd have to wait another 5 or 10 minutes for things to cool off. Meanwhile, all my friends are looking at me like, oh, are we going? What are we doing? Why are you still here? So if you've got big tires, since this isn't an option anymore, I would say get yourself one of these. It worked great. It really did. In conclusion, clearly Maxi Trac is the king, right? But the king is dead. It is no more. So if you need a compressor, what are you going to do? I give you the Gobege 5.65 CFM. Comes in different colors, and most importantly, it's available, and not just available like, hey, we're going to make some. They actually sent me this one from a warehouse, distribution center, whatever it is, in North Carolina. So they're here in the States. You don't have to order it and wait however many weeks it's going to come to take from China, whatever. No, they're here. They're in stock. They're on Amazon, ready to go. So you just send out your order, come right to you. So I hope that was at least mildly informative or entertaining, whatever it may be. You can actually see a little sneak peek. We got some new wheels and tires on Janky. We got a new tent up on the roof, and we are now up in the upstate of South Carolina. You can see all the green behind me. There's no more stupid buildings and all the traffic and the craziness. So we now have the ability to go out a lot more often. We're only a couple hours from the mountains, so we're going to be putting out a lot more content. So if you enjoyed the video, click that like button, subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell so you get all the notifications for all of our future videos, for more comparisons, for when the new Gobege compressor comes out and they send it out to us, and we can get you a review on that, and then all of the future adventures that we'll have going. We'll test out the new tires, show you what we've got going on there, the new tent. Super excited for the upcoming season. Thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you're here. We'll see you on the next one.